This is inverted vitrectomy, dislocated lens and secondary retinal detachment. The patient had a previous trauma with a subluxated lens that was dropped after an attempt to do phacoemulsification. It was possible to see the lens floating inside the posterior chamber. Vitreous attachments were carefully removed to free it up further from the anterior segment, thus avoiding anterior traction. You have superior sclerotomies and an inferior temporal infusion line. The image is non-inverted, as you see the cutter and light pipe coming upside down. The lens was moving in the mid-vitreous, and we had to be extra careful with the cutter not to misdirect it with the cutter contact. You could actually see some RPE rarefaction due to lens contact to the retina below. After freeing the lens off vitreous, we directed the cutter towards the periphery to remove any vitreous attachments left. In this way, there are way less chances of postoperative complications. The lens was transparent enough to allow visualization from the fundus, but in an attempt to protect the retina, we decided to inject perfluorocarbon to lift it up. It is perfluorocarbon liquid time now, but notice that it came with multiple bubbles that coalesced as one after a while. In this way, the lens was kept away from the macular area. We decided it was better off using a fragmentome to get away with the lens at this time. With the appropriate settings, we could easily remove the lens. Minimal vacuum was applied at the retinal periphery. A white without pressure-like line was found at the superior temporal periphery. At this point, we had removed all PFO. We realized that there was a retinal detachment at the whitish area, probably due to chronic and repeatedly contact of the lens with the retinal surface. A decision was about to be made on deciding whether to do or not a retinotomy. You may notice this is superior peripheral laser, cause the image is not re-inverted. There was retinal elevation and contraction at the retinal periphery. A barrier laser was carried out. An air bubble was injected in the anterior chamber to create a lens effect so that we could observe better the retinal periphery. You see that the image is direct and not inverted by the air bubble. So we removed the air bubble. With the contact lens now, the area was ready for the maneuver. Enough laser was made as to prepare the area for a relief retinotomy. Peripheral retinotomy was then completed. The retina was pretty flat, even though a bit retracted peripherally. There were no retinal folds whatsoever. Some more laser rolls were made with adequate spacing. All the superior and temporal periphery were covered by laser. AFX, air fluid exchange, was next, starting from the very periphery to avoid any slippage of liquid towards the subretinal space. It was a complete AFX, and SF6 gas was injected after this step of the procedure. We put a stitch at the conch by the end of the procedure. We appreciate your attention.